Lecha. In John 8:57 through 58, it says, "Why, you're not yet 50 years old," the Judeans replied, "and you have seen Avraham?" Yeshua said to them, "Yes, indeed. Before Avraham came into being, I was." Before Avraham was born, Egypt and Mesopotamia had already birthed great civilizations. 7 dynasties of Egypt's old kingdom had come and gone before Avraham. By Avraham's day, storytellers already considered the Epic of Gilgamesh to be ancient lore. Human history was already piled deep. Among the thousands of long-forgotten men and women born, raised, and buried in ancient cities like Ur of the Chaldees, one man stood out. Somehow, by some inborn conviction, one man found faith in the God of creation. How did it happen? In Avraham's day, the entire world practiced idolatry, but somehow Avraham recognized his creator. According to one Jewish legend, Avraham arrived at monotheism through the process of observation and deduction, as it says in Zohar 1 verse 86a. When he saw the sun rise in the east, Avraham thought, "Surely this is a great power. It must be the Creator." The whole day he prayed to the sun. In the evening, however, the sun set and the moon rose. Avraham said, "Surely this one rules even the sun, for it's no longer shining." So he prayed to the moon all night. But the next morning he saw the sun rise and the darkness pass. He said, "Surely all these have a higher king and a master who directs them in their courses." Then God saw Avraham seeking for him. So he appeared to Avraham and spoke with him. The rabbis say that God chose Avraham before the creation of the world. He looked for a single righteous man for whom he could justify creating the world. That's when he found Avraham. As it says in Yalchut Shimoni 2 verse 766. A parable. Once there was a king who sought to build a palace. He began to dig, going further down, to lay a foundation, but he found only swampy oil. And so it was in many places. He was not able to build until he dug in one place, and there he found bedrock. Thus he said, "I am building and placing foundations here." And he built. So too the Holy One, blessed be He, sought to create the world. He was sitting and scrutinizing the generation of Enosh and the generation of the flood. And he said, "Why should I create the world and let those wicked men arise and vex me?" But when the Holy One, blessed be He, saw Avraham arise in the future, he said, "Behold, I have found a rock to build upon and to lay the foundation of the world." Thus he called Avraham Rock, as it says in Isaiah 51, verse 1 through 2, "Look to the rock from which you were hewn." God created the entire world for the sake of not just Avraham, but Avraham's seed as well. Most importantly, the Messiah. The sages all agree that God creates the world only for the sake of Messiah, Avraham's seed. As it says in Colossians 1 verse 16, "Because in connection with him were created all things, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones, lordships, rulers, or authorities, they have all been created through him and for him." As the ancestor and forerunner of Messiah, Avraham's life foreshadows a lot of Yeshua's life. One legend of Avraham's life stands out in particular. On the night of Avraham's birth, the astrologers and the wise men of Nimrod came to the house of Terah and ate and drank, and rejoiced with him that night. When they left the house, they lifted up their eyes to the heavens, and they saw, behold, one great star come up from the east, and ran athwart the heavens, and swallowed up the 4 stars at the 4 corners. They were all astonished at the sight, but they also understood and knew its importance. They said to one another, "This only betokens that the child that hath been born unto Terah this night will grow up and be fruitful, and he will multiply and possess all the earth, he and his children forever, and he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands." And they went to the king and told him the sight they had seen, and their interpretation thereof. And they added the advice that he pay the value of the baby to Terah, and then he slay the baby. Doesn't this story bear a striking similarity to the story of the birth of Yeshua? According to another Jewish legend, Avraham is the first person to question and overturn the ancient beliefs, customs, and values of his own people. Avraham went against the beliefs of his own father, Terah. Terah was an idol maker. On one occasion, he was embarking on a journey, so he left young Avraham to mind the idol shop in his absence. When a customer came to purchase an idol, Avraham asked him, "How old are you?" The customer answered that he was 50 or 60 years old. "Woe to this man," Avraham would decry. "He is 60 years old, yet he wants to prostrate himself before an idol only 1 day old." The customer would then leave in shame. Once a woman entered the shop carrying a bowl of flour as a gift to the gods. "Take the flour and serve it to the idols for me," he told Avraham. He took a stick and smashed all the idols except the biggest one. When his father returned, he asked, "Who smashed the idols?" Avraham replied, "Why should I try to conceal the truth from you? A woman entered the shop with a bowl of flour and told me to offer it to the idols. I placed it before them. One said, 'I will eat it first.' Another said, 'I will eat it first.' The biggest one took a stick and smashed the others." "Why are you lying to me?" Terah demanded. "Do idols have intelligence? Can they move or speak?" Avraham replied, "If only your ears would hear what your mouth speaks." The deeds of the ancestors pointed to their deeds of their descendants. The followers of Yeshua of Nazareth have almost entirely destroyed the old idols of the world. As faith in Yeshua spread across the Roman world, the gods of the heathens fell before the truth. Just as the idol of Dagon fell before the Ark of the Covenant, as it says in 1 Samuel 5, verse 1 through 4. The Philistine had captured the Ark of God and brought it from Even Ezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistine took the Ark of God, brought it to the temple of Dagon, and set it next to Dagon. But early the next morning, when the people of Ashdod got up, there was Dagon, fallen down with its face to the ground before the ark of the Adonai. They took Dagon and set him in his place again. But early the following morning, when they got up, Dagon was again fallen down with his face to the ground before the ark of Adonai. This time the head of Dagon and both hands lay there, severed on the threshold. All that was left of Dagon was his torso. Because of Avraham and his descendants, namely Yeshua, the God of Avraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, is worshipped in almost every corner of the world.